Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to this training session. The presentation that you will see, it has been recorded previously, and I would like you to look at it, and when at the end we can answer some questions. I hope you will enjoy the presentation. It's quite an interesting tool, and I will see you soon for the Q&A. So enjoy it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session, which concerns a tutorial on an important statistical tool. The name of this tool is Hierarchical Linear Modeling, HLM. And it is an important because it looks at a number of levels of analysis, as we will see in a minute. Before I go into that, let me just say that I'm working here at Hierarchical University. I am the Associate Dean of the Business School and a program leader, and I'm happy to lead this training session. So briefly here the agenda for this meeting. We'll start with an introduction to HLM. So what is hierarchical linear modeling? Then we will talk about the levels of analysis, the ratings. We'll discuss the variables. Then, as you can see here, SPSS is also mentioned here because we need SPSS to create the databases that they're actually at the heart of this tool, the HLM tool. So we're going to discuss the level 1 and level 2 databases. And then we're going to discuss some other aspects, important aspects of level 2, which integrated agreement. Then the HLM tool, the preparation. And lastly, the output. And finally, there will be a session on questions and answers at the very end. The first slide, it's actually quite theoretical, but then bear with me because some more colorful slides are coming along as well. So let's look at the introduction to HLM. So what is HLM? HLM has been one of the leading statistical packages for hierarchical linear modeling due to the pioneering work of Stephen Rudenbush and Anthony Brick, who created this software and authored the leading text on hierarchical linear and nonlinear modeling. And I've got some in-text citations there. I'm not sure if I have provided the references as well, but you can take a look at this as they are important. Then you can see on the next point, you can see the HLM7, the student version. The student version is offered free of charge, and you can download it from the internet. To be honest, I have tried to, it's been a while to use this tool, and I have tried to provide you with a link so you can have it readily available and download it, but I couldn't find it. But in any case, you will be able to find it if you search a little bit more, or you can consider the full package, which is a paid package. Again, if it is useful for the analysis that you do, then you could consider if it's beneficial for you to purchase it. So the HLM7 is the student version, and it offers a number of appealing advantages and capabilities. Among these are what many consider to be more intuitive model specification environment, greater ease in creating 3- and 4-level models. It's a wide choice of estimation options, integrated likelihood ratio hypothesis testing, graphics options, and the ability easily to handle heterogeneous hierarchical linear models. Don't worry about these words because most of these I don't know as well, but it's just presenting here the capabilities of the software, which is quite broad. And then lastly, we consider the SPSS. So as I mentioned in the introduction previously, that SPSS is used because it's supporting this tool. Certain files are created in SPSS, which are loaded in this tool in order to be able to do this two-level analysis. Talking about levels of analysis, so hierarchical linear modeling is a tool which helps researchers to explore different levels of analysis. If you look here on the left-hand side of the table, you can see the hierarchical levels of analysis. So in this example that we are using, we're looking into a school and we're looking at 3 levels of analysis. And I'm going to explain this in 1 second. So as I said, we are using an example examining a number of factors that impact student satisfaction in a school setting. The idea actually is that students in a school are at the level 1, and then the students are nested within a classroom, which is the level 2, and then the school level is at level 3. So students are nested in classrooms and classrooms are nested in a school. Okay, so as I said, the first level of analysis is the student. The second level of analysis is the class. Now, the idea here is looking at the student and the ratings of a student should be somewhat accurate. But then if we're looking at the ratings of the whole class, there should be some more accuracy there. If we're looking at the average of the class of a rating, for instance, is how a student or a class is satisfied with a tutor or something else. And then, of course, looking at the school level, we can see here, again, the average of a school could be somewhat more close to the reality. And I've got some numbers here as an example. So perhaps the student could be looking at one student and asking the student, how satisfied are you with some aspects of the school? So one student might say 5 out of 5. The class, the average of the class might be 3 out of 5, which this might be closer to the true picture. And then if we're looking at the average of the school might be 4 out of 5. So again, this might be closer to the true picture. Before we go into the tool and the models and so on, and how we prepare these things, let's look at some examples of what could be placed at level 1, at level 2, at level 3. So certain factors fit to particular levels of analysis. For example, looking at level 3, the school level, the geography of the school might be a key factor to consider. Also, the annual budget of the school. So the more money the school has, maybe this will have an impact on student satisfaction. Looking at the class level now, perhaps the class size could have also an impact on some outcomes, because one could argue that the more students, it could be less knowledge and less satisfaction. Also, the homework assigned load, and perhaps the teaching experience and teaching style. So all these factors can influence level 2 variables, which is the classroom level. Then going to the lower level, which is the student level, perhaps the gender, the intelligence of the student, some other socioeconomic factors such as status. Also, this can have a positive impact on the outcomes under investigation. Here we present some of the factors again, and on the lower part of my screen, you can see also some additional factors that are added because the previous ones are taken from an example. So I've included the student satisfaction at the level 1, which is at the student level, the stress and anxiety. So perhaps these are all factors that one could consider when looking at the school and conducting research. Here I've used some of these factors just to create a model and to make a case, let's say. The outcome on the right-hand side is student satisfaction. And if we look on the left-hand side, which is the level 2, at the class level, the level 2, we're looking at teaching style and homework assigned load. So one could argue that the teaching style will have a positive impact on student satisfaction, and the homework load, assigned load, will also have an impact on student satisfaction. However, something important that we need to consider here is that when we're talking again about level 1 and level 2, level 1, we are looking at, say, 100 students, but we look at them individually. We look at the ratings individually, how satisfied they are. However, on the level 2, which on the boxes on the left-hand side of the screen, we look at the averages of these classes. So if there are 5 classes in a school of 100, on the right-hand side, we have 100 students, so 100 ratings. And on the left-hand side, we have 20. So it's 100 divided by the 100 individuals divided by 5 classes. So it's we have 20 ratings. So we're looking at how 20 ratings impact the 100 students at the level 1. So creating the databases, considering 2 levels of analysis using an example in the financial sector now. So at the level 1, we consider the individual employees of a bank. And at level 2, we look at the units of employees in a branch. So again, one bank might have 100 employees. And if the bank has 5 branches, then perhaps there are 20 employees per, there are 20 units. It is important to create, when we're doing hierarchical linear modeling, it is very important to create 2 SPSS databases. The one is at the individual level, the level 1, and the level 2 is at the unit level. The level 1 concerns, as previously noted, the individual employees. And here we proceed as usual with the database in SPSS. So I've got here some print screens from an example actually in SPSS. And on the left-hand side, you can see the table with 20 individual employees. Actually, the sample was much broader, but I've included the 20 here. And on the right-hand side, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. You can see here an image taken from the left-hand side, just to make it a bit larger, and we can follow this example. So looking on the left-hand side, we can see the number of employees, which is on column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, going to 20. And on the right-hand side, you can see the level 1, which is actually the 1, 1, 1, 1 is the first branch, and then 2, 2, 2, 2 is the second branch, and so on. So the first 4 employees are nested within the first branch. The other 4 employees are nested within the second branch, and so on. So one of the important things is to actually do the averages first by looking at the individual responses, followed by grouping these averages by looking at the units of analysis, which in this instance is the branch. So looking at the first employee, we can see that there are 4 questions here under consideration: Q14.1, Q14.2, Q14.3, and Q14.4. So the first employee answered in the first question 3, the second question 3. So this employee actually was, I think the example here is on work overload. So the first employee answered the first question 3 out of 5. The second question 3, the third 3, and the fourth 4. And by looking at these numbers, 3, 3, 3, and 4, we can see that the average of that employee is 3.25. In the same way, we calculated the other averages. So this is on the individual level of analysis. So this is the level 1 when we're looking at the hierarchical linear modeling. This is the first level, and we're looking how individual employees how they feel concerning a specific outcome, which, as I said before, I believe it's work overload. On the level 2, units of employees in a branch we're looking at, and a requirement that needs to be fulfilled to group employees is to check the level of agreement among employees of the unit. Here I'm bringing into the conversation the SPSS tool, and more specifically the reliability analysis. So to create the database and to be allowed to do so, we need to calculate the integrated agreement. So we open the reliability analysis box in SPSS, and we insert in the items box the variables under consideration, which in this instance is work overload. And we press the statistics button, which is on the right-hand side of the screen. When we do so, we see these 2 boxes, which actually is the same box. On the left-hand side, you can see the first red arrow, which points to interclass correlation coefficient. So we need to click this box, to select this box, in order to calculate the agreement amongst the group of employees. In order to do so, we look at the selections, which we have the one-way random, the two-way random, and the two-way mixed. And we select the two-way mixed, which is a more acceptable, let's say, selection in the social sciences. And then moving to the right-hand side on the same box, but this time we're looking at consistency. Here we can choose consistency or absolute agreement. And usually the choice is absolute agreement. So we want to see that in order to group the branch of employees together, we need to fulfill the whether there is agreement between them. And this is calculated by SPSS. Looking here at the results, the output, we can see that on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side is the, on the left-hand side actually is the reliability statistics, which is 0.759. And on out of 4 items. And on the right-hand side, we can see the interclass correlation, which here we can see the average measures has a result of 0.697. So any values above 0.7 are acceptable. So here our value is 0.697, which this means that this is an acceptable outcome. Having calculated that there is adequate agreement within employees of a certain branch, so we have conducted this analysis for each branch, and we looked at the respondents of the branch and whether these respondents agree between them. So those branches that there was no agreement, we could not add them in our research, so we had to remove that branch. But all the others, following the previous example on the individual level, on the level 1, that we found that the first employee, looking at these red boxes here, is rated work overload 3.25 out of 5, and then the second 3, the third 3.25, and the fourth employee 3.25 again. So we're looking at these averages, which we can see that this branch, the average of their work overload, as they have rated it, the 4 employees, is 3.19, which is not far away from the true picture of the 4 other employees. So on the level 2, we did the same for each level 2 unit. And here we have 11 units, 11 branches. And we found the first branch, the level of agreement among the employees are 3.19. The second one is 3.25. The third one is 4, and so on and so forth. Here it is important to note that a branch could consist of 3 employees, 4 employees, 10 employees. So when you're describing your methodology, you have to state the assumptions of your study, that you accepted, for example, any branch, for example, larger than 3 employees or 4 employees or 2 employees. And your sample, for example, consisted of so many branches of a bank, which consisted of minimum, say, 3 employees, and maximum was 15, for example. So this thing, you have to state it clearly so the reader knows how you have conducted the study. This is the idea of the different levels of analysis, what we have covered up to now, about the SPSS tool and how we use it to prepare the level 1 and the level 2 databases. And now I've got here some information on like an introduction to the software, because this is an introduction to the HLM tool. I don't have a lot here, but it's just for you to get an idea how to start, and in fact, how to incorporate the SPSS databases in this tool. And then there are many useful YouTube videos that you can look at yourself. Also, you can read respectable journal articles from our top authors in your specific field, and then see how did they do the analysis and how did they write the analysis in their respective papers. And it is through this that you will be able to understand the whole concept and the tool of hierarchical linear modeling. So let's go and look at some information on this HLM tool. So how do we prepare this tool first of all? Okay, so when you open the tool, as you can see the top left arrow, if you press the file, you will get all the selections. And what you are looking at is to make a new MDM file. The MDM is the type of file that you will create. So you select the stat package input, which is pointed by the red arrow on the right-hand side. When you do so, you have to select the nested model. The HLM tool that I described originally, which is the student version, and it's a free version, so you can download this freely. At least this is what I did when I was doing my doctorate degree, and later some analysis. HLM2 is free of charge, but the other packages, the HLM3, I believe, and the HLM4, and some other packages as well, which you can see the hierarchical multi-level linear models and the cross-classical models. I believe this you need the full access to, so you need to pay for this tool in order to be able to calculate the more advanced analysis. But at least most papers that are written, they use 2 levels of analysis. So I think you will be quite covered with this HLM tool, the student version. So again, you select the nested model that suits you, which in this instance is the HLM2, 2 levels of analysis, level 1 and level 2. The 2 arrows on the left-hand side, well, first of all, on the top right-hand side, you have to, I believe you need to write the name of the file, and then, as you can see, the arrows on the left-hand side of the screen, you input the level 1 specification, which actually is the first file, the first SPSS file that we have previously created. And you browse and you incorporate it in the HLM tool. In the same way, you browse for the level 2 specification, which is the second file that we have created, which is on the unit level of analysis. So again, the level 1 could be 100 employees, which offer individual responses, and the level 2 could be 20 branches of 5 employees each. So these 100 employees are nested within 20 branches, and 5 employees are within each of these branches. Then you click on the bottom done, and you have created the environment, let's say, that will enable you to create your models and do the analysis. Each time actually that you, going back here, each time that you look at the levels, you're also required to, when you input the SPSS, the HLM tool asks you to choose the variables under investigation that you would like to consider for this research project, because your SPSS file might consist more variables. So you select the variables that they interest you for this study, and you press OK. In this way, you create this environment here, which are randomly incorporated in this presentation. I'm not quite sure about this particular research, although I talked about at the beginning about the research in the banking sector, I use that as an example to describe the levels of analysis. Of course, here we look at a realistic example, which is taken from one of the tutorials. And you can see the left arrow on the top, the red arrow, which points to level 1. So when you press level 1, you see the variables that you have previously selected. And then the level 2 variable again, you can see also the variables under investigation here. And certain formulas are created, which they look quite complex, but they're not. And it is a matter of you engaging with this tool to learn how to perform these calculations. And for instance, if I could make it and learn this package, which I couldn't find someone to teach me, I'm sure that each and every one of you, if you work hard, you will be able to master this and produce the high impact papers that I'm sure you all aim to achieve. Before I go to the Q&A, questions and answers session, I would like to say again that my name is Kostas Fodio. I am the Associate Dean in the Business School. You can contact me anytime you wish. If you have any questions on this, perhaps I might be able to help you, or any other questions on the SPSS. And I am looking forward to receiving your questions and answering them. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Costa, for that presentation. We now move to the question and answer part of this webinar. However, we don't really have many questions yet. So if you have any questions about what you've just seen, about the presentation, anything that was unclear, anything you'd like more details on them, please post in the Q&A, which is at the bottom of your Zoom controls. It's the 2 speech bubbles saying Q&A. Post your questions in there, and we will answer them as soon as we can. So, that having been said, we do have one question. How do we get access to the previous lectures? Now, the previous lectures are going to be edited and uploaded on the VLE and the Student Help Center. This hasn't been done yet. It should be done. It will be done by the end of this month. It should be done, hopefully by the end of next week. I've prioritized it, but we have a conference as well. So they've been a little bit delayed, but we will have the other webinars in the UU Stats series up on the VLE in their own section as soon as I can get it arranged. So, next question, and this one is for you, Costa. Apologies for answering the previous one. The homework load, is it referring to the student or of the workload per lecturer?
Okay, so that's a good question. And here I can see that the student is considering levels of analysis. So whether the workload is a part of level 2, which is the class level. Just to answer it a bit more generally, the levels of analysis, they all start from level 1. And then it is up to us to position them in the level that we want. For example, work overload could be considered a factor which refers to level 1. So we're looking at it as an individual rating, but also the same thing, it can refer to level 2. So we can calculate it as part of the classroom, getting the average of the classroom. Or again, we could look at it as part of the school. So that's a level 3. And going one step further, we can look at it as part of a country. So that's even level 4. What it is important is when we are considering grouping the ratings of the students is to consider what previous researchers have done. So if previous researchers have provided sufficient evidence that grouping that into level 2 is okay, then you can do so as well. But you need to have very good reasons from the literature to do so, rather than doing what you think it is best.
Excellent. So the next question, what challenges might arise when integrating quantitative data into a hierarchical model, and how can these be addressed?
Yes. When we are exploring new ways of doing things, even the less complicated things, at the beginning, they look like a mountain. So it is best to do very good research on the topic. So read as many tutorials as you can. Watch as many YouTube videos as you can. And then you will have a better understanding of how to perform the procedure in order to have a positive outcome. Also, it is very, very important to engage with people who already know how to do this thing, and they will guide you accordingly. So that's my general advice. You will find lots of difficulties, certainly, and but each difficulty, I'm sure you will be able to overcome it by being committed to what you are doing.
Commitment is always good.
Yes.
A follow-up to that is, how can hierarchical level analysis be used to tailor quantitative measures to specific contexts within an organization, such as different departments or teams?
Yes. So hierarchical linear modeling is a tool which looks at the individual level and then certain groups of employees, whether they are within a branch or a whole bank or a country and so on. So let me see the question again.
So how
So,
can, sorry,
Sebastian, please remind me the question.
how can hierarchical level analysis be used to tailor quantitative measures to specific contexts within an organization, such as different departments or teams?
Yes, yes. So the measures, again, the measures, you pick them by looking at how previous researchers have looked at this research before. So, for instance, if within an organization, previous researchers have looked how satisfaction of your supervisor on a unit level can lead to personal satisfaction or commitment or work overload or another outcome, then you need to look at what previous researchers have used and base your research on that, or have a very good reason based on the literature. So again, it's looking what previously has been said, what previously has been done, and then you will be allowed to do your research as well and having a solid case.
Nice. Now, the next question, is SPSS free of charge? The short and official answer is no, it's not free of charge. It's very, very expensive for most versions, although I think there's a student version for around $100. The full details are on their website. As everybody knows, there are pirated or cracked versions of software available on many places on the web, which of course we officially say that you shouldn't use and you should get the original software, but they do exist. And another thing that exists is alternatives to SPSS. So they're not SPSS, but they basically do the same thing as SPSS in the same way that you've got Google Sheets as opposed to Microsoft Excel. So there are options out there. No, Unicaf doesn't offer a free version of SPSS. There might be other places that do, both legitimate and illegitimate ones. The simplest and best solution is always to buy the original software yourself. But if you're unable to do this, then yes, there are alternatives. Dr. Fodil, was there anything you wanted to add to that answer?
That's answered really well, actually. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
So another question for you, Dr. Fodil. Could you kindly expand on an interpretation of the analysis, please? For example, you mentioned that anything above 0.7 is an acceptable outcome, while the example you shared was 0.697, especially as it relates to reliability analysis.
That's picked up very well. So it shows that you have been listening. So,
Yeah.
so thank you to the person who asked the question. Borderline ratings are acceptable. And although I could have used an example which was above 0.7, I thought to keep that one as it was. So maybe to get this question as well. So it is the social sciences and it's a rule of thumb. So the rule of thumb says that above 0.7, there should be the number to consider. But even lower numbers, when you have a good study and when you explain and conduct the study very well, you will be able to incorporate numbers just a little bit below as well, even 0.6, especially if the research adds significantly to the literature. The numbers shouldn't be a big factor to consider, although we have to follow the rules. So our research is best and is more acceptable.
Excellent. So the next question is, can you please explain what is the difference between hierarchical linear modeling, HLM, and regression?
Okay. So the one is a tool, and the other one is a calculation. So hierarchical linear modeling, it's a tool which can perform levels of different levels of analysis and can conduct analysis. Regression is something that we do when we test hypothesis testing, and we use regression analysis to do so. So those students that they do quantitative analysis and they do hypothesis testing, they also need to do regression analysis. And this is done in SPSS. This tool also looks at and calculates as well the regression within it, because when we create the formulas and we do the analysis, we get also the results of the hypothesis testing we are doing. For example, looking at a level 2 factor, how it impacts level 1 factor. But again, it's something within hierarchical linear modeling. And it's, while the other one is just a calculation. So I hope that's clear. Okay, so I can see that my colleague went away, so I will continue here with the questions. So the next question is, how do variables such as income, education, and occupation, I'll let you,
Apologies. Yes, just had
yes,
another question
yes,
come in. How
sorry.
do variables such as income, education, and occupation relate to each other? How can you determine the relationship?
Okay, so income, education, and occupation. These are all what we call demographic characteristics, and usually these are used as control variables in research. Um, so these are usually factors that we do not use them in our hypothesis testing, uh, but they play a key role in maybe differentiating the result or maybe adding to the result. So, for instance, what is the impact of supervisor support on performance? And we can see that it is positive, but then if we look at education, as we see in this example, we might say, well, those that they are they have higher education, they also have better performance. So again, these personal and work-related demographic characteristics are used mostly to refine the results, I would say, and provide more evidence rather than being in the hypothesis in the first instance.
Thank you very much for that answer. So the next question is that you indicated potentially creating more than one database in SPSS for each level. When dealing with huge databases and multiple levels, this can become very complex. In your experience, are there other ways to deal with this, including alternative technology options? i.e., is there an alternative to SPSS as a software which does basically the same thing, but in a less complex way?
Yes. I've used SPSS and another other packages like R, which is something that the previous colleague has provided a session, a tutorial about. Um, so the SPSS in the computer can calculate any sample, whether it's 5 persons or 5 million in the same speed. The difficulty is to create the files, but also if you have a questionnaire online, uh, you can again very easily incorporate the data of 5 employees or 5 million of employees in the SPSS database in the same speed. So technology will really help us here to incorporate data in the respective tools. What's difficult, it's finding the respondents and making them agree to do the research. So I will say, do not worry about the numbers. It's more to be able to conduct an ethically acceptable study within an organization or an environment that will produce good results for your study.
Excellent. So is the HIM software readily available on the website, or I need to buy it online or from suppliers?
Yes, good, very, very good question. Actually, I have an old computer which I've not disposed yet because I've got my HLM tool there and I can do my analysis. And it's been a few years now to use it. I think 2-3 years to use this tool, the HLM tool. So when I went to the website to bring you the link, I couldn't find it anymore. So I'm not sure if they have discontinued the student version. Although it is there, you can see that it is there. So I'm sure you will be able to find the tool. And if not, then you have to consider the paid package. It's up to you to do your cost and benefit analysis and move forward.
Okay. So the final question at the moment Is it best to use HLM for comparative analysis in a study with intra-groups and inter-groups?
Okay, so that's a good question as well, similar as all the other questions, and thank you for reporting them here. So these intra-groups and intergroups, it just reminds me of the level of analysis. So you have a group, and then you have more groups within the group. So you have one level, and then you have more levels within that level. And again, when you look at the final slides that are provided, what you will be able to do is to create the formulas by looking at certain characteristics that you will be able to compare. As I used the example before with gender, maybe that's a demographic that you can see, you can compare. It could be between banks, it could be between countries, it could be between other personal and work-related demographics. So yes, all the statistical tools, that's what they do. They compare things. So you will be able to do a comparative analysis.
Now, unless anybody else has any other questions they would like us to answer, we're at an end to the webinar. We'll wait another couple of minutes in case anybody else would like to raise another point. Is there anything else you'd like to cover or address again, Dr. Fodil?
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I wanted to say that I've seen many people being encouraged by looking at the numbers because they say, well, maybe I'm not that good with the numbers or the statistics. If you look at YouTube videos, and if you get some books and you go through it, you will be able to do anything very easily. It's just everything is brought to you by the most expert people in the world. You can find them now on YouTube videos, and you, at the leisure of your home and your time, you can take your time and master anything you want to. So please do not be discouraged, and you will be able to master anything you want to and be the best in the field. So that's what you need to target, not just to learn, but to be the best in the field.
That's always very good advice. If you're the best in the field, then yeah, you never have any problems. People will always come to you. So we do have a couple more questions now. When using SPSS, how do I count double ID numbers in SPSS?
Yes, if you just copy that and put it on YouTube, you will find your answer, or in Google. So SPSS has certain instructions inside that when you do the analysis, it will eliminate the double ID numbers. So if you have included by mistake myself in a research study that you do, and you've got my results twice, the SPSS will be able to identify it and eliminate it. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but that's the feeling I have about it. Yeah.
Okay, yes. And we have another question. What measure would you be considering to determine student satisfaction?
Yes. Good question. Good question. Satisfaction is a multifaceted construct. And if you look at questionnaires in the literature, you will see also some which, I think there is something which is called the Minnesota Satisfaction Questionnaire, and it's the short version and the large version. The large version, it consists of 100 questions. And these questions are nested within, I don't remember how many, maybe 20, 30, 50 different factors. So anything to do with the work environment, we are satisfied or dissatisfied, starting from the color of the walls to our boss. So anything can be included there. And again, read articles and just build on the existing literature. you don't need to create the new world. To get your doctorate degree, you can say that such and such author did A and B, and you are adding to the brick of knowledge by adding C. You don't want to start from A and B, C. You have to add to the literature. So look what has been done before, and just build on the brick of on the wall of knowledge.
Now, once again, we have no further questions, but once again, there we go. Can we get the study materials? So I'm guessing by this that the student means the PowerPoint presentation slides themselves actually used. We haven't developed an official policy on this, but Dr. Fodil, are you okay with your slides being put on the VLE along with the videos? Would that be acceptable?
For myself, it's okay, but I mean, I allocated some hours during the weekend to build this to offer it to you. And if you search in YouTube and you put hierarchical linear modeling, you will be able to find much, much better material, which will help you to understand in more detail the process. So we're talking about hours and hours of tutorials. And I'm sure through that, you will be able to master it. Now, it's not up to me to decide. I'm not sure about the policy of the university. So I'm okay with it generally. Or if somebody wants to, I can share it with them personally.
Okay.
I'm generally acceptable,
Generally, this is our policy. As long as the person who's got the copyright is okay with it, in this case you, then we're fine with it being shared and we encourage it. But sometimes some people say no.
All right.
Which
Okay,
is why I
then.
wanted to check.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's been answered. And again, we have no more questions. So I think we're going to leave it at that, Dr. Fodil, unless there's something else you want to cover?
I think we have covered everything. Just to say thank you to everybody. Thank you also, dear colleague Sebastian, for joining here this afternoon. And good luck to everybody with their studies.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Fodil, for an excellent presentation and Q&A session. We will see you at the next UU Stats seminar. Goodbye. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.